Alrighty.
How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow?
Unique New York.
The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. Look at that, huh? Boom. Open comms.
Oh,
Star Citizen
look at this.
calling. Look,
Oh,
look. It's gonna go twice. Boom.
I
There
love
it
it.
is. Well, I hope we're live. I hope everyone can hear us. I am Jar Jar Jabroni here with my good friend and your friend, Tav.
Well, hello. You might be a wee bit low, Jar Jar, just to.
It might be low.
Mm.
I'll pump it up a little bit, but I don't want to be too high. I don't want to wake you up in the middle of the night. I imagine some people may listen to us as they slumber on Spotify or their favorite podcasting platform.
Yes, that ASMR Star Citizen banter.
Actually, I'll tell you for a fact, I know nobody listens to us on the podcasting platforms because I do post there, and the metrics, literally no one listens to
Perfect.
it on the Spotify or I don't know what the other ones are called, iHeartRadio, those things. We have them. We post to them, but nobody's listening.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But we do have listeners, the YouTubes and the Twitch, actually. YouTube, thank you to everyone who's been watching and listening on YouTube. Episode 5, we got over 400 individual watches.
We're moving up. I love it. Well, yeah, I'm excited for this episode today.
Yeah, I'm really positive about it, and I hope you're positive.
Oh, I'm very positive.
And if you want to call in to Open Comms Radio, let us know, are you CIG positive? This week's
Oh, every
question,
time.
are you CIG positive? You can feel free to call in on the Discord or what have you, but I think I'll give us a little intro here. I am CIG positive.
Yeah, let's do tell.
Well, you may remember last week I had the kerfuffle with the cargo. It's not
Yes.
being moved off the cargo pad. That's still an issue. That has not been solved. But we got a cool Banu and we're getting some content, and that actually brings me a lot of joy.
Likewise, I saw. I mean, I see the YouTube videos of the thumbnails, and I've been very good at not clicking, unlike my usual self. I really wanna. I just want to get it as fresh as possible in the game, and I'm very excited to see some of this stuff.
I mean, what do you think? So this week, you know, I was gonna do like a Stella Fortuna St. Patrick's Day theme for the question this week,
Ah,
and
yes.
I recall last week on the what is it? I think it was an SCL last week. Technically, Jared was like, "Oh, we usually give out green paints, but this year we have something special planned." And they haven't shared an event yet that I know of. Did you see any like events?
I have not. Maybe a caller could that's more abreast of it might have some insight. But I have
Yeah.
not seen anything in regards to that.
Well, I checked it out on the web page, and there's like they have a thing. It's like a bar crawl, like in the game. Um, and
Oh,
they
that's.
did mention the racing skins. Shvitier's in chat.
I did
They
see
did.
pictures of those. Those are looking,
They're pretty
good
cool.
looking. Yeah, yeah. No
The
complaints there.
dude, the Archimedes is. I don't know if the Archimedes or the Merlin, but you know the
Oh, the
cruiser.
green, yeah, the green snub.
Well, they gave it this really cool. Maybe I could pull it up here. They gave it like this really cool Murray Cup vibe, and it's not green. It's like cool like racing colors. But I don't think that's what they were talking about. I did see something. I know there's an event in 4.1. I don't know if it's going to come for Stella Fortuna though.
Yeah, I'd
Did-
like to know if, I mean, what's the extent of how large some of this content comes in? I know there's the new mission giver when we get our Banu in the game. Um,
Yeah,
but
but so
I'm up for that. Oh, I'm excited. I'm just excited.
I'm into the mission giver. The thing is like, all right, he gives you the mission, but like, then what? Like, what's, you know?
That's the big question, right?
Like, we have a
That's
mission giver, and it's like a
uh,
box mission, and you're like, no.
yeah. Yeah, deliver this to, yeah, some ATM way across in Stanton. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I always love the Stella Fortuna. I love the Foundation Festival. That's my favorite. That's my favorite one there. So I would say overall, I am CIG positive because I see that they're actually putting stuff into the game. They haven't fixed my cargo, but I'll give them a little time on that one. I did end up just cheesing the event though. See, that's what happens when it doesn't work. So like I mined all the minables, refined all the minables, put them in my cargo elevator. Couldn't pull them, not my cargo elevator, put them in my ship's cargo area. Couldn't pull them off my ship to put in the to deliver them. So then I just ended up hanging out with actually Wikkett, and he had all the stuff in his freight elevator already, and I
You
just
just
joined his
called it out.
party, and he just called it up. So I just used the whole thing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So that's what happens when it doesn't work, and it is lame because I had a lot of fun mining.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you said, you gotta, you deal the hand you were dealt.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
Um,
how do you feel, buddy?
oh, me, the cargo, that whole phase of the cargo was just not as much my bag. And with the frustrations from phase two, I decided I'll wait. I don't have to complete every event. This is me being positive about it. Some missions just aren't for me, and I'm happy to wait until the next event and the next content. And as long as we're getting variety, and fingers crossed. I love seeing all this stuff with how they're working in the contested zones into more mechanics. I just think the variety is going to really add a lot to the game, and let's create other points of interest for players to gather around. Now that Pyro kind of seems to have settled around a couple points, let's put in some different events
You
that
know
spread
what?
people out.
That dude, they can make the universe as big as they want, but people are always gonna cluster certain
Hmm.
places for whatever reason. You know, Tav, you know what we need?
What do we need?
We always forget this. The theme song. We didn't even start the theme song.
Dun, dun. Yeah, yes. All right.
That was a good one. I'm glad you knew
Oh,
that one.
yeah, we're on the ball here.
We're on the ball here today, and if you would like to join us, you can call in, join our Discord. It's linked on the Twitch. In one of the links below, you just join us, enter the caller waiting room. We'll pull you on in. If you are listening to this recorded, be sure to like and subscribe, folks. I don't say that. Speaking of, we did get some subs, Tabby, and I'm very
Oh,
proud of that. We
love the
got some
subs.
subs, we got some comments, and we got a message that we got to read aloud.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm on pins and needles over here.
Yeah. So if you can't join the show and you just want to write something or share your thought, we do have a text channel in the Discord where you can just write a message. It's called Something to Say. And Lord-Anubis had something to say this week.
Wait,
Lord-Anubis
so?
says, Lord-Anubis writes, maybe we should in like our old timey voice. I'm just a random citizen, not a star or anything. But I say it's high time CIG made true on their promise for full immersion by closing the biological game loop. We must request, nay, demand, poo/p by 4.0.3. No new ships until poo ships. No whole D before P. I
I
really like.
emphatically support this. Stamp of
Me too, man.
approval.
Yeah,
You
I'll
gotta
say,
have gotta have it. Toilets tier 0. I mean, we're waiting.
dude, it's crazy that they took all this development time to build toilets, to build bathrooms for species that aren't even in the game.
Yeah, and
They do absolutely nothing.
you got these 15-minute travel times in between, POIs, and you're quantuming, and everyone's like, well, what do I do when I quantum? And now you can just say, well, have you taken a crap yet? Like, you gotta. There's now one more thing to do in between, in between stars.
Yeah, if you're not going to give us anything to do while we're jumping,
Yeah.
you gotta let us have our bowels move, make us get out of our seat or something. I agree. No whole D before P, Lord-Anubis. I think you hit the nail on the head.
It is high time we get something there. I would
And
be
it's
less
high time.
excited if it winds up being a timed, like, little quick time event where you gotta thread the needle, so to speak, just to have a clean bowel movement. But let's. I just hope it's as easy as sitting down and getting back up.
It needs to be like the Oblivion lock picking game. I don't know how you're gonna make
Virtually
that work.
impossible.
I don't know how you're gonna make that work for Pooh,
Yeah.
but it is time for us. We do have a caller in the waiting room, Tav. We don't want to keep him
Oh,
waiting.
nope, nope.
Bring him
Well,
on
let's
up to the
bring
chat.
him on in here.
Welcome to Open Comms Radio. You're live with Tav and Jar Jar.
Citizens, long-time
Welcome back, caller.
listeners, six-time caller.
Hello, Wikket. Thank you for joining us.
Of course,
Are you CIG positive?
you'll find this hard to believe, and this may come as a shock to anyone who knows me. I am CIG positive.
The
That
hell
they
are
are
you?
Put in
they're
an
about to.
audience applause.
I
I know.
I'm CIG positive that they will disappoint me very soon.
Well,
No,
no, that they had us in the first half.
no.
Now, having said that, I must say that lately, I play various games and I spend my time all over various genres. But the last probably month and a half, I've almost played exclusively Star Citizen. Spent way too much time in it, and have had a great time. I've been doing a lot of org stuff, a bunch of solo stuff, helped out org mates, guildies. It's been fun, and for the most part, things have worked. If you know about elevators, you just wait till they actually finished doing their elevator magic until the world responds around the entrance and you can get off safely. And you have to deal with the ever-present server error or weirdness that sometimes can happen, as you found out with your cargo from the refinery. But at the end of the day, for almost every weird issue that we encounter on a day-to-day, there's always somebody that comes up with a solution, which is kind of awesome if you think about the community. Now, it makes the community awesome, but of course it makes CIG a big disappointment. But on the other hand, this event that we had recently, our guild kind of completed it for most everyone, and then we had a little after party for people who missed the event and wanted to get their skins or whatnot. That went well. But also during that time, we tried out mining again, because mining has been kind of a sore spot.
What's the
For the
state of
longest.
that generally right now?
It's pretty good. I'd have to say it's working pretty good. The scanning mechanic, if you know what you're doing, scanning is working good. The RS signatures mean something. There's some third-party apps like Regolith that really help defining what your scanner sees and helps you to determine, do I need to go in that direction that's 15 kilometers away, or can I just, that's not what I'm looking for, I can move on. Saves a lot of time. It's very efficient.
Also, just for finding stuff, Regolith. Like, I was like,
Yeah,
where's
they have a
copper? You just search copper and it tells you where it is.
absolutely. They'll tell you, they've the folks that work with the supporters of Regolith and the volunteers that go out and, because all this data is captured manually. So
Ooh, that's a
hats
job in
off to those
itself.
folks that have provided data for those. They have like what's called, I think, the Survey Corps, and I think anybody can join up for that, and they'll take your data and incorporate it as into their database of information on mining and minables and salvage and all this other stuff. The thing that I wanted to talk about is the mining is that we did do some mining as a group, and we gathered enough materials to do one of the big missions that everybody got like over $3 million in payout, which was great. We didn't really, we did it as an activity. It wasn't to get rich quick. It wasn't to we've already got our skins from the event. It was just another way to do something as a group. Everybody worked together, and it worked out great. The refining worked, unloading worked, doing the mission worked, and dispersing the money all worked flawlessly for a change, which is, I'll say I'm CIG positive about that. That was great.
That is a big win. Quick question regarding the mining, and only because I'm not a miner. I know CIG put in. You remember those charges that you would attach to rocks? Does that have utility? Is that?
Oh,
I've
it
always wondered.
definitely.
I've never
I
seen
think
anybody
it would
use
have more
those.
utility for a solo player. I haven't had to use any of it. I did purchase a bunch of those. I bought one of each of the they're called I guess gadgets, and it changes
Hmm.
resistance or there's other aspects that it changes. I can't remember them all, but yeah, all that is workable. Also, the attachments to the different mining heads, that's all working as intended. Um, in some of our mining trips that we did over the last week as a group, we found some gigantic deposits in asteroid fields on Ardir, the moon of Pyro 5, because we were looking for tin, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, that's always good news. Sounds like it now would be a great time if you haven't tried mining to maybe, yeah, venture into it.
Yeah,
Yeah, there are a couple things that are off with the prospector. I'll just say, your reticle on your HUD to like target isn't in line with the laser on the prospector. Um, there are a couple things like that. I know the mole had that for a while. Were you using a mole Wikkett or were you using?
yeah, I've been exclusively using the mole. I've done party mole. I've done solo mole. Um, out in space, I haven't found anything that I couldn't solo crack. Now, planet side, if I didn't have a group at the time, we would have been hard pressed to break some of the bigger rocks that we found on the surface of that moon. And another cool aside that we had is while we're out looking for this stuff, you're constantly pinging and searching for RS signatures to try to find, like we were looking for 10 at the time. So you're looking for certain signatures. And of course, every once in a while, you'll get a signature that's not a rock, it's a ship. And of course, being who we are, we'd like to investigate. We might need help, lend a hand, or uh, help them alleviate some rocks from the ground. Who knows? Anyway, we went over to this. We detected a ship signature and locked onto it, and sure enough, it was another mole. So we went over to investigate, and this guy was on this gigantic rock that he had no chance. He was solo on the ship after scanning his ship. So we tried to hail him and talk to him in calm and chat and in-game voice, but to no avail initially. And then finally, we just started breaking the rock, and he joined in, and we were able to break this gigantic rock between us. And then the comms started flowing, and it just turned into a nice interaction that wasn't just, oh, you meet some rando in Pyro and you immediately say, oh, I gotta kill this guy before he kills me. It wasn't that at all. It was just, one miner helping another miner. That was it.
I met a prospector out when I was prospecting too, and we didn't talk or anything. He just he barrel rolled his ship, and I barrel rolled mine. We had like a little copycat back and forth, and then he just left, and it was great. It was a good time, and I just love seeing that. I love landing and seeing all the people, and that's really what I'm here for. Is like that kind of stuff, not the man. I hate violence. This is what I've realized. I do not want violence at
We have
all.
totally different opposite styles of play. Uh, I love it. I mean, I think that's great that you have mining. I mean, and hopefully, as trading becomes more, people that choose these career options will just naturally run into other people that are friendly, just by nature of the career choice. And I think that's a cool thing, especially all these interactions that you get from it.
Well, what the that mining is working as well as it is. One nice thing would be as CIG, and this is again me being CIG positive. Where did this come from? I have no idea, but here we are. One thing they could do is they're adding these new events, seemingly every month now. They're adding events. They're giving new gameplay loops maybe as part of these events. It'd be nice for them to start to piecemeal some kind of more elaborate crafting mechanics into the game,
Yeah.
where we're not necessarily selling all this stuff, but there's a reason to go out to buy or to mine and find some rare raw ore that can be refined into something that can then be used in some kind of crafting mechanic, and then hopefully that crafting mechanic would lead into some necessary component that gives you the super fancy gun that has a little bit, it's the +1 sword of Star Citizen basically. It gives you that little bit of extra. But then in order to get that, you're either going to have to steal it from somebody or loot it from someone. Oh, we'll get into looting in a minute. uh, the or you'll have to find the raw materials and make it. That'd be an amazing thing that they could piecemeal start giving us as small little nuggets, like the first crafting station and what you can make with it. That'd be awesome. I'm not holding my breath for that, but it'd be nice.
I mean, I kind of am. I feel like that's now. Like that's something that has to happen. I just feel like that's coming. That's got to be coming sooner rather than later, because it's not anything that they're reinventing. Like if you look at the 4.1 patch, they have for the Gladius, what is it called? When you're flying in atmosphere, they have the
Control surfaces.
control surfaces. Thank you. They have the control surfaces. That's like, I mean, they've been working on that for who knows how long, and that's something that's really difficult and unique, and you have all this physics and crafting is basically just you're just coding lists. I mean, I'm not a programmer, but on the back end, like you're just it's I feel like that's much easier, and it's already been done 100 million times. I feel like ChatGPT or an AI could make a basic coding. I mean, it could probably also make a control surfaces programming. You know what? I take it back.
It's well, I mean, it is. It's at the most fundamental level, it is. Bring item A and item B together in one spot, either
Yeah.
push button or mini game, and you have item C. Yeah, I don't think there's. It seems
Well,
like
the
they have that
reason I'm not
capabilities
holding
in now.
the reason I'm not holding my breath about the crafting is because one of the big things when you have crafting in these types of games is you have an economy that goes along with it, and we don't really have that. I guess you could
This
have
is the
one
chicken or
without
the
the
egg.
other. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it really is.
because obviously there's always going to be that segment of the gaming population that doesn't want to interact with the crafting at all. They'd rather just, hey, I'll just buy it. And over the I'm not going to say how many years, but a lot of years that I've been playing MMOs, most of the time, resource gathering, crafting, selling is not the way to get rich. Usually, the way to get rich is either to steal it all from somebody or just buy it, use it, and go on about your business. That's the most efficient way to get to the end product. Find other ways to make the money and just buy it off of somebody.
Yeah,
Mm.
there's also still no overall game. There's no macro game loop. I think that's what they're adding with all these missions and narrative. But there's still like why am I doing this? That still doesn't exist. And they gave us a hint of that with the bases, with the
Right.
kind of org type gameplay.
Mm.
But they've never actually demonstrated the kind of single player, end game. Or what are you as an individual if you're not in an org? What are you doing?
Right. Well, for me, the only measuring stick that there is currently is, how much money can you amass? I mean, there's no. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess there's leaderboards for some things, but I don't even know how they work or where they pull data from. I guess that's maybe only an AC anyway, in Arena Commander. But how big a fleet can you get before the next wipe? How many ships can you amass? How much currency can you amass? I guess that would be the only real yardstick that's anybody can attain because anybody can make money.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can always get the. I suppose there's notoriety with just being either a great help or a great hindrance to other players. I mean, I know that we all recognize certain names when we see them, or if you catch them again, you're like, oh, that person's going to attack me, or that person was really, that's always been helpful. Tries to, come and help out the little guy.
Yeah, that's like almost like having a third party reputation system for to have something in
Yeah.
game where you can actually mark friend or foe
Mm.
by tagging people. So whenever Billy Bob comes up on you in whatever ship he's in, he's always going to come up as red because he's a sworn enemy of either your group or you're on a personal hit list or whatever it may be. And most, in a lot of these open-ended games, like what Star Citizen is seemingly attempting to become this open-ended sandbox type environment, there's usually always some sort of reputation system that you can invoke. Um,
You
that
Dang it,
mentioned
Billy Bob. Well,
you.
so I'll say right if anyone wants to call in, you can join the Discord linked below in the Twitch. You can feel free to call in and join us. But we do have a comment related to that Wicket from Shveet in chat. Shveet says, depending on the MMO, Final Fantasy XIV's crafting guys usually make bank, all caps, when new armor is released. The game provides base upgraded armor, but also crafter armor, which usually has better stats. That sort of thing doesn't really work in Star Citizen since equipment doesn't have levels. What I would
Mm.
add to that, Shvi, is levels yet, because they did hint that they are going to have some kind of upgrades for your
well,
armor.
they've already introduced some of that on a marginal, an introductory thing, like in these contested zones. There are weapons that drop there that have a little bit better stat because of the additional components that are connected to those weapons that give them a little bit more power or a little less recoil.
You
Or
mean like the scope,
yeah,
the compensator?
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's starting to happen. And at one time in the past, all the best weapons that you could get were all available at any weapon shop at any location in the game. But then eventually, they all the best weapons, only certain like intro weapons were available from the weapon shops. And in order to get the better weapons, like this is back before they nerfed the hell out of the FS9, you'd have to go to a bunker, kill enemies, and loot those better FS9 weapons before they got nerfed.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
there's still, and that's to this day, that's still the way to get an FS9, to get it from like the contested zones or from a bunker. It's not
I mean, in
purchasable
addition to that,
anymore.
they also just need the UI to do these things, like upgrading
Yeah,
a ship and everything. Like the UI just needs, I feel like they have a lot of it. Like you can add components to your ship right now. It just needs to be a more user-friendly system, I think. And
hmm
it needs to work with controllers like Xbox controllers. It needs to work across like all these, um, all these various peripherals. And I know that some games actually have different UI depending on what version you're using. I don't think that'll work for Star Citizen. I think they need a uniform AI UI for these kinds of things like upgrading your weapons and armor and everything.
Well, for any of this to really matter, it's like our guild has been doing some transactions with other organizations by selling components and armor and whatnot.
That's a good game
And
loop.
it's it's generated something for our group to do, plus make some money on the side. The money isn't really the important thing. It's just the act of getting something done as a group. Um, the problem is that there's no real easy way to interact with someone to make a trade. All you do is you give them something, they pick it up,
Drop it on the floor.
and then you just hope that they send you the money, right? There's nothing keeping them from taking that item and never paying you.
Yeah, there's nothing that secures the transaction.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And to speak to Sweet's comment about, yes, I understand that. I'm not saying that crafters don't make money. That's correct. Crafters will always make probably the most money. The point I was trying to make with that, in most MMOs, getting to the top tier of the gear progression and the player power progression, it's never been through crafting. It's usually through buying the crafted items. That's the quickest way to get to the end result.
Yeah, I think the thing is what is, it goes back to that, what is the end result here? Because we're upgrading our gear, we're upgrading our armor. Like, they tease like stealth armor and that sort of thing.
Well,
I don't know if all that stuff's coming in anytime soon, but I do like what I do see that's coming in.
Yeah. Well, now you have now the meta kind of in ship combat is the stealth meta, to where you want to make your detection distance. You want to be able to get so closer to your enemy before they can detect you than you detect them, right? It's all about detection range, and we went over this a couple of shows ago, I think, about this whole meta. But at the end of the day, in order to facilitate that type of game loop, there's certain components you want and that are not readily available. Now, you can get those from those exec hangers. You can go through the loop of trying to get the exec hangers, or this is something that we were selling as an org because we have a group of players that is very well versed in doing contested zones, and also navigating the ins and outs of opening the vault in the exec hangar and getting the loot out on a reliable basis, and defending themselves while doing it. And then this leads this whole loop of, okay, we're running this to get to there, now we're going to sell it for a profit. And hopefully that continues, and this T0 is either rethought and doesn't become a thing where every time you die you don't lose anything, because that just kind of breaks that whole game loop.
Yeah, it definitely throws a wrench in it for sure, at least for temporarily. But again, and being positive is if it went once implemented, I imagine the backlash will either force a change, or everybody kind of just goes, all right, where's tier, let's get to tier 1, and holds their breath, so to speak, just to get all that consequence, bring that back into the game somehow.
Well, no need to hold your breath anymore. We finally have a word from our sponsor, Chav.
Whether you're hungry, thirsty, grab a Cruz Lux, available at every landing zone in the cargo district.
Now without diarrhea.
You don't have to worry.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine you drink Cruz Lux, you got a little
Oh, and it just shoots right through you? See, that would be the nerf on it.
Hey, gracious hosts, I think there's somebody in the green room. I think I recognize his ugly mug.
Yeah, we do.
Before
we bring that guy up here, I just want to, Schweetz saying, to your point, Wikkett, he said, fairly put. That doesn't give you enough credit. Fairly put. But yeah, crafters will craft, money gets made. Raid items will always be better. The crafted gear in Final Fantasy XIV is a stepping stone towards it, but the end game for Star Citizen is what I wonder about, because there are only so many guns you can make before people ignore 90% of the game for the meta. I think
Well,
that's good.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I think
Fairly
that
put.
that
Fairly
happens
put.
in every game. That happens in every game.
I hope we have more than one meta. But Wiki, if you want to scooch over, we got
Yeah,
little
I'll scoot
Springs
over
Patch
and
to
make
catch.
a little room for this next guy. He's got a wide stance, so I'll scoot over all the way to the end.
All right, MurphyJack, you're on Open Comms Radio, your Star Citizen call-in show with Tav, Jar Jar, and Wikkett. Today's question is, are you CIG positive?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, this couch is comfy. I I am. And I'm not gonna trick you like somebody else did, but I am positive, and the biggest reason being is because of like Wickett was just talking about this contested zone loop that we've been extremely heavy in. And then hearing the leaks and the videos on 4.1 with the Hathor event that's coming and the Banu and how it ties in and all that. The biggest thing that I like about it, and the biggest thing I like about it now and what's coming is we're able to get like the F8C in game through a game loop, able to get the F7A through an in-game loop. So people can't really say anymore, like, oh, that just, you pay the money, you get it, and it's scarcity and stuff, which it was, and it was kind of weird. But now we have this way to get it, right? Which is great, and it encourages such a in-depth loop that the CZs. I mean, look how much fun we've been having with them, especially when we get a good fight and all that. And then this Hathor thing coming. I mean, there's going to be a way to get a Polaris in game like that. Like
Whoa,
that's
whoa, whoa!
that's a
Really?
good
Spoiler
move.
alert. How about tell me about it? I didn't read this. I don't know what's
I
happening.
haven't read all through it. I just saw that one of the rewards is a Polaris. So
Where'd that?
if
Dang.
they're providing an in-game way of this really neat loop to get a ship that they're charging $975 real life, like,
Dude.
it kind
I
of
think, yeah,
makes you
you're right.
feel
It's
better
great.
about it. It's not like you're going through these loops and getting a Mustang or a starter ship or even a a light fighter or something. You're getting top tier ships that are otherwise very hard to get because they're time limited or you needed to do the overdrive event to get the F7A, right? But here you are. I mean, we have now pulled let me bring it up. We are up to, I gotta add them, 22 ships that we've pulled out of the executive hangar.
Oh,
Legitly.
wow. All right.
I
So
mean,
this
that's
does
with just
go
running
back to
it casually.
Well, this goes back to the tier stuff, like tier 0, because this is for your weapons and your gear. But say you do get this Polaris, it'd be cool, I think, for the game, is that Polaris that you get, you don't have insurance on. Maybe you can achieve it some way, and it should be difficult, right? But then, like, if you get that Polaris and then you lose that Polaris, it's gone.
Well, I
Unless
would
you've
Yeah.
think,
gone
Well,
through
that's
other
as
game
long
modes.
as they close, I don't know if you can still turn any ship in the game into a missile that drops it. Um, I think they'd obviously have to address that issue. Uh, Unless that's not the case anymore. I don't know if that's been a fixed thing or not, but
it is still, but there's a way to get around it that we don't need to get into. But
all right.
there
I
is
mean,
a way
are
to get
you
around it
obtaining
now.
this Polaris legally?
I mean, it looks like it, but
Okay.
without getting too spoilery, right? I mean,
Yeah.
from what and I haven't really been keeping fully up to date on it, but from what I've seen, the pipeline Discord and stuff, it just looks good. I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, you know, I'm very excited for Nyx. I'm very excited for Castra Terra, right? But we have two very large systems right now that if they're gonna like go through this and fill them out even more and more, like these new Hathor locations, that's gonna be really exciting. And then the Valakar when it comes to Monarchs and Daymar or whatever, like filling out what's already there, making all this room we have right now have stuff is huge. And that's why I'm like, because in the beginning when they said, you know, this year is going to be more of a content, and we're not going to introduce new stuff and like new core gameplay. It's going to be more of a, you know, tidying the game up, right? I was a little like worried, a little scared, but now once we've started to get a little taste of it, and now we're starting to see more of where they're going, maybe this is going to be a good route. And I mean, the game has gotten a lot more stable lately. It has its, you know, you still can tell you're playing Star Citizen, right? But
Always.
but it does seem like it's slowly getting a bit better. And I mean, look at we got Pyro now. We got the jump gate. Like the stuff that we were waiting for so long, we got, and it's working.
And it's cool.
You know,
It is cool.
so it just, you know, and it's tough because you love the game and then you want to play it, and then something happens and you get pissed off. But when you step back and look at it, there's a lot there really, and this content is going to be fun. I mean, like Wikkett was saying, how we've been out mining and stuff, right? All driven by this event.
And
Yeah,
think
the
about all the places you
push.
haven't been.
Exactly. Yeah, we were just talking. We had the story of yesterday when I think it was yesterday, the day before, we took Doyle and I took the Polaris down to Chala's Beach. Nobody was there. We landed, and the thing, it got hung up on an antenna, and we weren't able to get back on it. So we were like, whatever, you know, let's just explore a little bit, see what loot boxes, and just hang out for a bit. A Pisces shows up. Two guys get off this Pisces, steal the Polaris, and we're standing there. You know, we tried shooting them, but the shields are up. We're like, well, we can't have this. So Doyle still had the marker for the Polaris, and we chased them down. We got a couple people on, and we ended up with a Manus, had it snared, and I quickly outfitted my Hornet with distortions and distortion scatter guns and stuff, and we're like working on it, whittling away at it, and it turned into a whole thing. And you just think about like, and like Wikkett was saying, how we met those guys and cracked that huge rock, these random people. These are the interactions that make it so fun, and it's the more we run into people, the more they do these events. I think it's good. I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's the sandbox. It seems like that's the sandbox working as intended, right? You're on a whole
Yeah,
new mission now to to get back the Polaris, and it's user created. So
we'll see. I
that's
mean, overall I'm positive. So there you go.
I mean, you guys mentioned that you kind of sent the hail, and this is just probably a question for me, you know, but is that functional? I remember there was a time when it worked really well, and then that went away.
Oh, by hailing, I didn't use the in-game hail. I was just like hailing in the
Oh,
global
the general chat.
and also
Gotcha.
trying to speak in-game voice.
I think that would help a lot of combat instances of, you know, I just think those random encounters in Pyro where there is a hesitation to shoot first. I think the ability to hail the other target directly would seemingly change things.
For a long time, hailing worked. It worked almost too
Yeah.
good because you could hail someone, basically get a marker for them, and warp to them.
Yeah, that was probably a
that's
little bit
different.
too much, but
Dude,
but no,
that would be a whole
scan
different
range.
game, man. Yeah, and because I assume what they want is they want some kind of like video to pop up with your character's head on it, right? You're sitting in the seat. They want your character to pop up and be like, "Please don't shoot me. We come in peace." They want the Star Trek thing.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think it would be cool, and it's, you know, there is this face-aware technology that it could basically map your mouth movements and eye movements. And it even works with that face-aware thing actually works with Toby. So if you're a Toby user for head tracking, eye tracking, that face-aware supposedly works with that. It's kind of glitchy, but I mean, I could see some really high echelon role play happening where, some really cool in-game interactions could happen with that if everybody was on board with using the technology.
Well, you don't even need the Toby. It'll work just with
A
the
camera,
regular
yeah.
camera. Yeah, if you have good
Well,
lighting.
I'm saying if you already have a Toby, which a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of people
it's
seem to
better.
have it,
Yeah.
and then if you're that into the game, you may be immersed enough into it to go full RP. Next thing you know, we're all going to end up at the Goldshire Inn, and something bad happens. But I
I don't get the
digress.
reference.
Of course not.
Is it a
I'll
Warcraft
explain
thing?
it. Yes. Real gamers
Goodness me.
understand.
Warcraft was a little digression here. It was my first game that like I needed to get a new graphics card to play. I didn't even understand the concept. I was like, what do you mean I just get like a component for my PC? And this girl who played it gave me her old graphics card, and I couldn't figure it out.
And then started the addiction.
It's a
Well,
beautiful story.
I never ended up playing Warcraft. I was playing Sonic, SimCity, and Nintendo.
Solid choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as far as you talk about all these organic situations that happen in the sandbox. I mean, bringing that hailing online would allow all those cool mining interactions that you all had. I think it brings the possibility of those cool interactions happening in Pyro or even more combat oriented. Just happenstance. I'm just there's been so many things where you've stumbled across two other people. You're the third party, and you stumble across two other people shooting at each other, and you hail both. Perhaps maybe one party is going to first party to answer the hail. I mean, there's all. I
This
think
here's a Mexican standoff.
yeah, it would make things immediately more interesting.
Yeah.
So it's
I gotta do my Brad Pitt voice.
Oh,
exactly.
by the way, I have a slight bone to pick with the Open Comms radio channel.
Oh, interesting.
We don't
Right here,
all forget.
on our own show, you're gonna do this. Okay.
Yeah, why
All
not?
right.
Let's air the dirty laundry in public. Why not?
Wait, is this the airing of grievances?
It's
I
a
got
slight,
problems with
it's
you
a,
people, and you're
it's a
gonna
slight,
hear about them.
it's a slight grievance. It's nothing major,
I'm ready. We
but
can take it.
I've noticed that I've been made aware by my legal team that there's many clips floating around the internet, audio and video, and many of them somehow contain voice recordings of me, myself, and I, the Wikket.
Right.
And I just wanted to say that if there are any ever possibilities of compensation due to this, and I give you full permission to continue to use my likeness henceforth in perpetuity. I only ask one thing. If we ever, make any money out of this, I'd really like to donate anything that would come my way. I don't want it myself. I'd like to donate it to the Illegal Alien Cruz Lux Foundation. The Cruz Lux Foundation is a staunch supporter of all illegal Banus and the like in the Star Citizen universe, and they're always helping them out. Legal defense, immigration policy, stuff like that. So just make sure it goes to the Cruz Lux Illegal Alien Foundation. Thank you.
Well, I'll do that. We'll do that for sure.
A generous donation of Alpha AUC shall be made in that regard. Now that would be good. We should start up a little
Especially now that we've got a Banu hologram soon to come into the game. Who knows what his status is, legal or illegal?
The Banu can never be illegal. The Banu are always given their
Well, it depends on
insane.
who becomes the ruler of the UEE, right?
I hope we have elections again. I wasn't here the first round of elections, and let me tell you, I don't even know who's in charge right now. To be honest, who is in charge?
Yeah. I feel like we used to always see that at certain times in the patch cycle. You'd see those posters everywhere. Is that still a thing?
They're still there. They don't go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
We're in perpetual election season. That's the hell of the game.
What a nightmare.
But I would love to see that. But Wikket, your request is heard, and we will make it happen. And in the off chance, we did get 6 subscribers today.
Well, you know that
So
the revenue surely is piling in.
with all these Cruz Lux ads, shit,
Yeah.
Tav, we're
What?
beyond our time.
Are we missing a now? Grab a Cruz Lux. It does not go through you fast at all. It is the best drink. Grab a Cruz Lux today.
Absorb it all, Cruz Lux.
Absorb it all.
Absorb it
Nothing
all.
comes out.
Wow, that was really good.
All right, with that, I need to run. We're
Yeah.
loading up for another CZ run. So
Oh,
good
okay.
thanks for having
hunting.
me.
Goodbye,
Good
Murphy
hunting to
Jack.
the crew.
Yeah,
That
we'll
guy's
see
got
you
his
soon.
priorities straight.
See you soon. Goodbye.
That may be it. We don't have. No one else is in the caller waiting room. So very few callers, just 2 today.
Keep
One
it simple.
very CIG positive, one kind of CIG positive Wicket.
I'd say
Tepid.
so.
One prepared to be disappointed. Okay. I accept this.
Cautiously positive.
Yeah. So today we discovered the only things that we really want are working toilets or some kind of poop loop, as Lord-Anubis suggested.
The poop loop. Oh yes.
Crafting. We need a crafting game loop, maybe similar to Final Fantasy 14's. I don't know. I've never played it. Also, can I tell you one other thing I'd want in this game that they don't have is I want like golden bananas or like those statues that you used to shoot from Fable. I want one of those things that you have to like collect. There's like 1,000 of them, you know? And you have to find all 1,000 of them.
Golden scatulas or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, golden scatulas, that sort of thing.
That would be nice. I think we had that with the I don't want to say the Pico, but now he's everywhere. Sold in stores everywhere.
Yeah, and I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk too, so thank you for Cyberpunk, Tav. You gave it to me. So
Hey, it's a good game. It's a really good game. I just
yeah.
Split Fiction, and I couldn't recommend that to higher to anybody. That was one of those games you play and you
finished it?
Oh yeah, it's I want to say it's about 12 hours of a campaign that you play with a friend, and I mean, I was just cheesing absolute shitting and grin on my face the entire time. It really is a love letter to gaming and to all these different styles of games. So well worth the price tag. And you only need one copy, and you can play with a friend.
I saw that, dude. I almost bought it right away just for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever want to test it, let me know. We can I've shown a couple people it, and once they, started it, they were like, "Yep, I'm buying this for the wife. I'm buying this for, play this with the son." Because everybody, I feel like I've been looking for good couch co-op for 10 years.
Oh yeah. Ever since Resident Evil 5. For me, that was like,
that was the peak.
That was it. And then you need to get a Nintendo. You need to get a Switch.
Yeah.
That's where the couch co-op is. It's on the Switch.
On the Switch. Yeah.
Well, Wikkett, anything you want to say to Chris Roberts, CIG, or the people of the internet?
No, just keep hydrated with Cruz Lux. I love that stuff. Remember, the other Cruz flavors are there just to point out how good Cruz Lux is. Stay Luxy.
Hey,
Love it.
Luxy.
Tab, anything you want to say to CIG, Chris Roberts, or the people of the internet?
Oh, I'm other than I think just to pivot what Murphy said is stoked for the content. I know we were all kind of holding our breath to say, okay, is this going to be a bug fixing content year? And I'm positive about it. I think it's just what the game needs is a little bit of polishing the rough edges. Maybe we'll fix some of these things that we've talked about. And yeah, let's get some other stuff, and we can leave them in this time, hopefully, instead of like Miles Eckhart, who was there for a couple years, and I don't know what happened to him.
Or the Drake guy, the Top Gear guy.
Yeah. I'd like to see some of these figures hang around, just so when new people come into the game, there's a host of NPCs or mission givers to do. So I think that would be great.
Yeah, and CIG, I'd like you to take notes from Cyberpunk and let us edit our giant schlongs in the character creator, please.
I just have this visual like, oh, no, in the character creator. He's just taking like 15 minutes to get that just right.
Well, thank you for
Matches.
stopping by Open Comms Radio, sponsored by Cruz Lux, your Star Citizen call-in show. Always feel free to call in to us on the Discord. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, give us a little follow there. And if you're listening on Spotify or any of the other audio-based podcasting platforms, you're alone because there's literally nobody else listening. Thank you very much. Open Comms Radio.